Race 10 brings us to Lakeland, Florida, in the USA International Speedway for the inaugural Central Florida Modified Trophy. Q Race 1 was pretty doggone exciting. Newcomer Brandon Baker, who will race a limited schedule this year, we'll talk more about him, finishing second behind Thor Gonzalez, battling away with C.J. Cameron in the early going and Gonzalez as well. Surprising names in the D&Q list: Pierre Duval, Randy Robinson, Chris Winter, C.J. Long, Robert Klesel. This is his home race for the 63 car. Q Race 2 getting the bigger spotlight for the incident that happened in the second lap. Westby Jones and Jason Teller getting together. Teller getting into the wall and a 5-car wreck breaking out. Teller wasn't very happy with Jones, but officials declared it a racing incident because Teller had drifted up into Jones's lane after Jones had drifted up the racetrack in turn 3. Surprise from qualifying. Carter Davids finished top 10 in points last year with 1 win. No points coming into tonight's race until now as he picks up his first ever Red Robin Pole Award. We start off looking at Garth Davidson, a winner 2 races ago at Grand Detour. Qualified 22nd. Not going to be a good night for him. He is a flat right rear coming to the green flag. He pits and changes his right sides. He would lose a lap doing this. Now on to the start of the race itself. Davidson that white 87 with a big red stripe. There's Lee on the outside. Nice jump for Mike Lee. He looks like he'll have the lead going into turn 1. Davids fights back on the inside, and he would eventually wrestle the lead away from Lee as they go into turn 3 and lead the first lap. Now there was an incident in the back of the pack on the first lap that we are going to show to you in just a few seconds. Alan Musico gets into the back of the 7 of Kurt Shelton, and here comes that wreck. Shelton gets down into the 46 of the aforementioned Brandon Baker. Baker gets into C.J. Cameron. Cameron and Shelton get into the wall. None of them drop out. No yellow flag. But here's the first yellow on lap 2. John Wainwright in the 00. Gets into Carly Brubacher, who gets into her McCurley Enterprises teammate Gibson McAllister and causes him to slide in front of the whole pack. Why that's a yellow, I'm not sure. By the way, CRL debut for Gibson McAllister tonight. Restart at the end of lap 7. Look at David's clear Davidson going into turn 1 and pull away from Lee just a little bit. And pulls away from him quite a bit going on to the backstretch. However, at the end of this lap, or after leading this lap, Davids is going to make a mistake. He goes into turn number 1, the start of lap 9. He trips up the racetrack, and then he's going to wash further and further and further and further up it. Look how high Davids goes going into turn number 2. Lee jumps to the inside, and he will take the lead, and it's good timing because the caution, the second caution of the night, comes out on lap 9. Fred Richer into turn 1 in the 93, gets into the back of Salvatore Provenzano in the 58, pushing the 58 up the track. Wainwright puts both his left side tires below the yellow line, gets into Richer. Richer gets into Alan Musico, who hits the wall. Brendan Malloy in the 4 car gets involved. Brubacher gets away. Here's a look at Musico. There's Wainwright on the inside. You're going to see Richer hit the 10 car, and Musico doesn't take much of a hit from here, but the hit into the wall, but the hit from Richer causes the defending series champ to drop out of the race. Restart at the end of lap 14. Eric Lacrosse has fallen a lap behind, and here is Lee clearing the 79, and Tucky right in front of him going into turn number 2, so a good start for the owner-driver of the 15. Drifts up the track a bit coming out of 2. But Lacrosse does not have enough momentum to get to the inside and try to unlap himself. Eli Labatt fired from the 44 car after last week at Dover after failing to qualify again. Replaced tonight by newcomer Ethan Right Drive. And Right Drive, what a race he's having. Qualified 9th for tonight's race. And here he is in 3rd, pressuring Carter Davids to try and get 2nd away from him, going to the inside of the 87, going onto the back straightaway. There they are in 3 side by side. Right Drive would have to fight off Davids a bit more, but he would eventually get the spot. Here's Carl Loggins, just his 3rd career CRL start. Won his first race at Watkins Glen 3 races ago. Finished in the points in Dover last week, and here he is in 4th spot after qualifying 27th, seeking his 3rd points finish in his 3rd career start. Logan's an impressive driver when he can qualify for a race, that is for sure. Lap 23 to the mid-pack. Here's John Hawks, second in points in the 45. Dave Bloomers Jr. in the 74 gets into Hawks, causes the 45 to slide up the track in turn 1. Hawks manages to get the car to stop, and he would keep going, no yellow. Lap 20, same lap, Mike Lee trips up the track coming out of turn 4. Now here's the start of lap 24. Laycross goes to the inside of Lee going into 1 as they drive through the smoke of Hawks. Laycross will manage to unlap himself, and then he's going to get passed by Right Drive for the lead. As you can see, Loggins in third now, approaching the 15 of Mike Lee. Lap 26. Loggins gives Lee a nudge going into turn 2, pushes him up the track, and Loggins goes into second spot going into turn number 3, but he's not done yet. He charges right up to the back of the 44, coming out of 4, peeks to the inside of Right Drive, and Carl Loggins has the lead going into turn number 1. Here's newcomer Brandon Baker. He's now in 19th after qualifying 23rd. Like I said, he finished second in the first Q race. He's going to do a limited schedule this year, 5 short track races. This race, Mosport 2 races from now, Evergreen 4 rounds from now, Richmond and Martinsville later in the season. He'll also run the British Columbia Grand Prix. Driving tonight for BBS Racing makes him a teammate of Brendan Malloy. He was spotted at Bowman Gray Stadium winning a track championship race by 2 laps. Here's the second newcomer, Brenton Rice, led all but 1 lap in winning Q Race 2. He's driving tonight for ARD Racing, which makes him a teammate of Aaron Devers, who didn't qualify for this race. Rice and Devers have been childhood friends for a number of years, or they were childhood friends, and Devers helped him get this ride. As you see before the end of the clip, he's going to lose this spot to Baker, lose 16th spot. Caution 3 on lap 33. Here's Wainwright causing more trouble again. This is the back end of the top 10. He hooks the 66 Dor Gonzalez coming out of 4. They slide back up the track, still hooked together. Wainwright hits the 07 to Jacob Eichholz. Eichholz goes into the inside wall hard. He'll drop out of the points, but he'll stay in the race. We restarted at the end of lap 39. At the end of lap 38, but on lap 39, Gonzalez hooks the back of the 87 of Davids and spins the pole sitter out coming out of 2. Davids looking to score more points than just the bonus for pole. He can say bye-bye to that. Coming to the restart on this, Wainwright a bit of karma. He has a flat left front. As you see him driving through the grass, coming into turn number 3, the yellow would really help him out and keep him on the lead lap while pitting. Restart at the end of lap 44. Watch Loggins just blast away from everybody. I mean, this guy, he's not as quick as he was at Watkins Glen, where his fastest lap, we put the fastest lap leaderboard up there. His fastest lap, at Watkins Glen was like 2 seconds faster than the second fastest lap. Tonight it's only like 3/10. So he's fast, but he's not as fast as he was at the Glen. Now you see Right Drive out of 4, scraping the wall. Here's a better look at that. This is on lap 45. And here's Lee speeding up to the inside of the 44. Reed Weber, by the way, now in 4th spot. And Gordon Moss in the 49 now in 5th. And Right Drive is not going to let that position go. As you see, Weber have to drift up the racetrack to avoid hitting either Lee or Right Drive. Lee would get the spot, but Wright would eventually get it back. Salvatore Provenzano on lap 47 gets a little rough. He's in 6th spot. Watch him push Gordon Moss and Lee up the racetrack in turn 3, and he will jump from 6th to 4th in one fell swoop, right on the back bumper of Weber coming out of turn number 4. Now we turn our attention to Westby Jones, the 04 qualifying 32nd. He's in 9th now. Of course, he had those problems in Q Race 2, upset a lot of people. Jones looking to score points for the second time. He finished in the points at Grand Detour, driving for Mark Aprila-Capal, who is on suspension until Mosport for comments he made about the next race in Charlotte. And meanwhile, back to our leader, Loggins, lap 59. He laps the point leader, Tina Lee. So Tina Lee not having a good night here. in Lakeland. Now, lap 64. Watch what Loggins does coming into turn 3. Here's Richard and Alex Nishmary in the 37. Loggins gets into Richard. They both slide up the track a little bit. My goodness, Loggins getting way too rough trying to lap all these cars. He nearly wrecks himself, Richard and Nishmary in one fell swoop. Here's a look at Dave Bloomers Jr., the 66-year-old finished 12th in Dover last week, becoming the oldest point scorer in CRL Modified Division history. And tonight he is in 10th spot, looking to score points for the second consecutive race. Here's Carly Brubacher looking for her 4th straight points-paying finish. And yes, that's engine smoke, and yes, that's the crippled car of Mike Lee. We'll get to that in a minute. Brubacher in 7th spot, like I said, seeking her 4th straight points-paying finish. Final caution, lap 67. Mike Lee's engine blows coming out of turn number 4. He'll bring it to a stop in the grass on the inside. You know that's not a good night for him. Of course, inside 10 laps to go. Single file restart. Carl Loggins had like 10 cars between he and right drive. 10 lap cars between he and right drive. And here's Loggins picking up his 2nd career CRL victory, winning the inaugural Central Florida Modified Trophy. And here's Bloomers being nipped at the line by Wainwright for 11th spot. So Bloomers finishes 12th for the 2nd consecutive race. You know that'll make those guys really, really happy. But Loggins, the king of it all tonight, his 3rd career CRL start, his 2nd career win, and he's 3 for 3 in scoring points-paying finishes. Led the most laps, as you see him having trouble with his burnouts there. Led the most laps, picks up the bonus point for that. And as we get to the results table and such, you will see that he also picked up the FedEx Fastest Lap Award with a lap of 26.089. So Loggins joins Tina Lee and John Hawkes as the only 2-time winners this season. Ethan Right Drive in his debut finishes 2nd. That's going to make Team Wiper very, very, very happy. Jacob Eichholz ends up finishing 3rd after being caught up in the 3rd caution. Gordon Moss finishing 4th, so a great night for Team Wiper. 2nd and 4th. Reed Weber finishing 5th. Carly Brubacher in 6th. 4 straight points-paying finishes for her. Thor Gonzalez, give a call to him, finishing in 7th. C.J. Cameron in 8th. Brendan Rohde in 9th. Kurt Shelton finishing in 10th. John Wainwright hurt a lot of feelings, but he ends up finishing 11th. And Dave Bloomers Jr., as you saw, finishing in 12th spot. To the points, Lee and Hawks still deadlocked at the top, but Lee has more starts than Hawks, so she gets the nod. Garth Davidson still sitting in 3rd spot. And in 4th, it's Jacob Eichholz. He's on level points with Brandon Malloy, but Eichholz is a win. Malloy does not. Fabrizio Dalla Stella, winless in the season, in 6th spot. Reed Weber in 7th. Carl Loggins now in 8th. 3 starts, and he's already up to 8th in points. Jen Walker sitting in 9th. Kurt Shelton sitting in 10th. Salvatore Provenzano sitting in 11th. In 12th spot, it's Carly Brubacher. What a season she's having now. What a turnaround. Landon Rohde in 13th. Mike Lee in 14th. And in 15th, it's Robert Glenzel. Next up, we're going to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Queen City Special, presented by the Charlotte Bobcats.